Hey guys, it's Wavejump here and welcome back to the video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install plugins on a Spigot server. Now, if this goes the way I want it, I'll have two videos out this week because this will be a relatively short one, but it's nevertheless a very important video to make. So I'm going to be showing you how to install Spigot plugins and also configure those Spigot plugins. So let's just hop right into it. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is find a download page. So what you could do is you could actually just go to Google, and of course you could just type in Spigot Plugins, right? And as soon as you've done that, you could also search for bucket plugins. Spigot Plugins is probably the easiest one to do. I would recommend going to spigotmc.org/resources, which is this one right here. You'll notice there are a bunch of them right here, and you could just click on any one and download it. But I'm going to be using a different one today, which is there's a little thing right here called the Spigot 1.11 plugin compatibility list. I might leave a link to it down in the description below. If not, just Google Spigot 1.11 plugins and you'll find this page. And essentially what this page is it'll tell you, it'll basically has an entire list of plugins, and it lets you know how compatible it is with 1.11. So I'm going to be using this to download a plugin and show you how to install it. Alright, so say for example I wanted to install Core Protect. Core Protect is one of the most important plugins if you're running a big server, or in general just even a small server, because it is a huge protection against griefing, and this will actually be what my review is on this week. Okay, so you'll notice if I click on Overview here, it'll go ahead and let me take a look at a bunch of information. Of course you could download it from other sources, but it's always best to download it from the Spigot website. I'm going to click on latest 1.11 right here, and it'll say check your browser before accessing spigotmc.org, and as soon as that finishes up, it'll go ahead and download. So there we go. Now you notice right here in the bottom left, I do have Core Protect 2.14.2.jar. So under my server directory, which we set up in our first episode, I'm going to click on the plugins folder. By the way, I'll have a link to the first episode down below probably, and if not, it'll be at the end card. And I'm going to drag into the plugins folder my Core Protect plugin that I just downloaded. And now Core Protect is part of my server. So, config files is another important part. The other thing I should mention before that, a lot of things you'll see have dependencies. The dependencies are essentially things that the plugin requires in order to run. So for example, in order to install Area Shop, which I've actually never used, you need to install first WorldGuard, World Edit, and Vault. Just an FYI, because a lot of people will be like, this isn't working. It's because they're missing the core plugins. Okay. Anyways, you don't want to double click on the plugin or anything unless it's has specific instructions. But if I were to go ahead and start the server here, and this may take a little bit and of course lag. Sorry, this build is outdated. Please download a new build. We know all that. That's whatever. We're gonna wait for it to start. Yeah, the builds get outdated really fast, by the way, so I don't update my Spigot server super often because it could take a while. But in order to update, download a new build, you're probably going to want to go ahead and follow the same instructions in the first video that I made about this. It'll go ahead and say loading libraries, please wait, and there we go. It's going up here, and as we're waiting for this to load, I'm gonna go back into this folder here. And you notice under my server example directory, there are a bunch of folders. Now, one folder that is not currently existent yet, that you'll typically see become existent, I believe, over time as you get plugins, will be a folder called config. So, I don't know specifically exactly if this has a config file or not, because I don't think I've ever messed with the config file of Core Protect. But if you don't see a config folder, we probably want to go to plugins, and typically it'll generate a folder right here. Actually, no, I don't think there's a config folder, that's with mods, sorry. Anyways, you go to the plugins folder, open it up, and you'll notice right here there's a folder that there's a file that says config.yml. Now, this might not be automatically openable in Notepad, and it might ask you what to open it in. So when it asks you what to open it in, make sure you open it with Notepad. This should be pretty much the same as Mac, just open it with like TextEdit instead of Notepad. It's not a huge deal, it's fairly easy. And you'll notice if I open this up here, there we go, it did ask me what to open it up with. It says Core Protect Config. And this one specifically is an absolute mess because, yeah, you could just take a look at it. It doesn't look great. There isn't a lot of spacing involved, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and take a look at, and make this bigger so that we can actually see what's going on. If we go ahead and load here, I'm gonna make the size of the font here like 72. Okay, this is actually fine. Core protect config. Okay, so anything within hashtags or pounds, whatever you want to call it, will go ahead and be commented out. That means that you can't actually edit that. That is completely ignored by the thing. Okay, so if enabled, extra data is displayed when doing rollbacks, and restored is this first thing. If disabled, you can manually trigger it in-game by adding verbose to the end of your rollback statement. Verbose is currently set to true. So basically this works, and this is one of the more complicated configs I've ever dealt with, but let me actually go ahead as well. This is way too big. Let me change this to like 24. There we go. So say for example I check this one. So this one right here. This one is a great example of what you might want to change. So this says if an update is available, you'll be notified via your server console. Check updates equals true. So what that would mean would be that if there is an update to Core Protect, it would show me while the server is booting up, there is an update for Core Protect available. You can download it, here, right? So if I were to set that to false, it would not ever show me that. Sorry, I need to stop the server. Or I could do, I could log when a player changes their Minecraft username, right? I could change all these options, and it looks like a mash of text, and it kind of is. But anyway, just make sure that you save it before you close it, and then typically it's best to restart your server to make sure all the configs save, but you could also typically type reload and it'll work anyways. Okay, so that is pretty much how to install a plugin. As you could tell, it's really easy. I'm going to show you really quick though what the benefit is to using an online server host. And of course, I'm again not sponsored. This is completely something that I recommend to do if you have the money for it. For me, this comes from Patreon. Okay, so yes, I have this whole server, panel thing with all this information. I could select which Spigot build I want. I could change the world that it'll automatically be set to. And I, by the way, just about like an hour ago shut down the server for a while. So yeah, that'll be in maintenance mode for a little while. I'm gonna go to config files here. And what's really convenient about Shockbait Multicraft, in general just Multicraft, is you could change configs really easily. So say for example, we're looking for Core Protect, right? So that should be somewhere around here to look right here, Core Protect config. And you'll notice it automatically does the spacing and it looks so much better. And of course, I'm sure there are Windows apps other than Notepad that'll fix it, but you'll notice here's a more clean config to read. If enabled, extra data is displayed during rollbacks and restores. Disabled, you can mainly trigger it in game by adding verbose. So this one you actually, yeah, it makes a lot more sense. Anyways, that's one of the great things about Multicraft. And then for me, in order to install plugins, I could either go ahead and manually install a plugin, like I just showed you, or what I could do, I could go to plugin lists and type in a plugin I wanted. Now I already have Core Protect installed on here, but say for example I were to want to install Spigot lib. I'm not going to actually install this, although it looks like it might be interesting. I would select the version number, and I want the most recent version, and just click install. And as soon as I were to click install, it would just install itself, and I don't have to do anything. This is available on a lot of server hosts, so if you're using a server host, that is how to install it, and change the configs. But this looks like, yeah, it's for plugin development, so there would be no point for me to install it. But anyways, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, go ahead and leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oh yeah, and thanks for 431 subscribers.